Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. Now I am going to be covering the Russian premium aircraft, the P-39K-1. Now, this is an historical battle. As compared to arcade battles, this aircraft is great in arcade. It has a lot of firepower and you don't have to worry about your ammunition count, whereas with most Russian planes in general, specifically Russians, and then also with your 37mm toting aircraft, you're going to have to be a little more conscious of your ammunition. So a quick little historical battles tip, I recommend changing your firing in your controls so that one mouse button fires everything all together, and then the other one will only fire machine guns, because that helps you better hit targets but while conserving your most precious ammo. So right here I'm trying to line up a 37mm cannon round on this B-25, and one of its original roles, what this aircraft was planned to do, was intercept bombers, but there was a couple problems with the aircraft's design that basically didn't really enable it to be a bomber interceptor. And here you can hear me just firing machine guns and then trying to line up a 37mm round. And I hit it on the second one, and I'm thinking I'm about to take this guy down when out of the blue, Mr. Corsair decides to say hello. Now, for the record, he did apologize, and I don't know if it was sarcastic or not, but I got a free kill there. He apologized, and I was like, well, it's time to get back out there and try something different. But a little bit of mannerisms or War Thunder etiquette. If you collide with someone or you ram someone, say you're sorry. We're going to try to make a community of people we enjoy playing with. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. So now I am flying the P-39K-1 in a different game right now. And I'm still in the mindset that I'm a bomber interceptor. So I'm going after this Me-410, which is a bit heavier of a target. It's a twin-engine aircraft. So I'm like, oh, this is the type of plane I'm designed to kill it with. So I try to line up my 37mm cannons. And I'm not sure if I landed a 37mm round or if it was one of my lighter machine gun rounds, since they're all simultaneously firing in that firing mode that I have. But I imagine if I hit it with a 37, I would have criticaled something, I hope. One thing weird about this aircraft is that when it comes to shell racks, you can change your 7.62 and your 12.7mm machine gun shell racks, but you are unable to edit or switch around the 37mm shell rack, at least currently. I'm not sure if that's just a bug or whatever, but I imagine it will be fixed in the future. So one of the primary reasons to flying premium aircraft is the boosts you get. Now, this plane enjoys a 100% boost to experience gained, and then a 340% boost to lions earned. So a lot of times people tend to buy premium aircraft that they really enjoy and then just grind it because it's the economy buffs are obvious. That's one of the main reasons. A second reason that a lot of people get premium aircraft is because there's kind of a few different types, but try to land a 37 there. One of them is that captured aircraft, or Lend-Lease aircraft in this case, meaning you're Russia and you want to fly some American aircraft, which are not in the normal tree. So that is one of the reasons. Another one is a lot of times you'll have just kind of a similar aircraft to what is already in your tree. It's just buffed a little more, like, or not necessarily buffed, because I don't think that is a term that you really want to associate with a game that's going for historical accuracy, and are balancing it in other ways, which are economic and tier based. So there's no real buffs and nerfs per se. But here's me trying to line up a BF-109E3. Now, something interesting, the Russians really enjoyed flying this plane. Um, and on the Russian front versus the Germans, most aerial fighting was done at lower altitudes, which is kind of funny, and this is a rather appropriate image that we're seeing right now, because the P-39s were much better at lower altitude, and that was kind of what I alluded to earlier. This was designed as an interceptor. That's probably one of the reasons why it has this 37mm cannon. But it doesn't have a, what is it? It's just not, it doesn't perform as well at higher altitudes, and that's mainly a result of a lack of a turbo supercharger engine. And something else regarding the engine. The engine here is behind the cockpit, and you can kind of see the intake directly behind the the cockpit for this aircraft. And look at those LA-5s and LA-7s trying to poach my kill. Another bit of etiquette: if you see a guy that's been following someone for a while, granted he is heading towards his base, so they could be under the impression he might escape, but if he's not really heading towards his base, there's no real chance of escape. Give it a little bit more time. Let the person try to grab the kill. I try to do that as much as possible, but in some cases, if it's the last aircraft, it's kind of free game, you know. Or if it's an AI aircraft, I also think those are free game. But those are my thoughts on etiquette. Let me know what you think, because I'm trying to work on constructing kind of a little bit of education on how to really kind of build a better community in terms of, you know, being more polite, friendly, better teamwork, and then just kind of like gentlemen and ladies rules. Try to line up a 37mm on a biplane. But yeah, interesting thing about this aircraft, which I think in historical battles, if you're kind of new, it helps, is the Tricycle landing gear. And it was one of the first fighters, if not the first fighter, to incorporate this. That means you have your third wheel at the nose instead of at the tail, so it's a lot more difficult to kind of nose down. And I noticed a lot of people will crash on landing and takeoff even, and the Tricycle landing gear helps a lot there. But one thing to be considered about is the ammunition. This thing is equipped with 4 7.62mm machine guns with 3,000 rounds, or 750 rounds per gun, 2 12.7mm machine guns that are in the engine cowling and fire through the propeller with 400 total rounds, or 200 rounds per gun, so they kind of empty out relatively quickly. And then you have the 137mm cannon with 30 rounds, so that can also empty out quickly. So you could easily lose your heavier hitting ammunition and be stuck with your 7.62s, and unless you're fighting lighter stuff, you'll have difficulty, greater difficulty anyway, taking down enemy aircraft. So yeah, if a premium aircraft, you're gonna choose it primarily for the economy boost, and also for if you just want to try out something that, you know, your nation doesn't really have in its tier. Now, with regard to this aircraft, the P-39K-1, currently it's a rank 6, and if you like 37mm cannons, you like bomber hunting, or if you are like Alexander Pokrishkin, who was a Russian fighter ace with 59 kills, who was a huge fan of the P-39s. By the way, he had 59 aerial victories. 34 of those were against BF-109s, 59 confirmed aerial victories, 34 BF-109s, and 2 Focke-Wulf 190s. So that kind of shows that in the hands of a capable pilot, this aircraft was historically capable of dealing with BF-109s at lower altitudes. And that's the key point. This is a lower to medium altitude aircraft, even though it was designed as an interceptor. Alexander really liked this aircraft because Alexander Pokrishkin, I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but that is a badass name. He loved that when he landed his shots, the enemy aircraft would generally just explode. And so when that happens to you in an arcade or historical battle, realize it's a 37mm cannon, and that is what it's supposed to do to you. But Yeah, so this aircraft, more lower altitude, not necessarily what you'd think it would be given its 37mm cannon. It's not really a high altitude bomber interceptor because it's difficult to get up there and you're not going to perform as well. The economy boosts to this aircraft are pretty awesome. 340% line boost, so it's good in that regard if you're looking for a grinder, a farmer. Got to keep in mind that it's kind of difficult to fly. It's not as maneuverable as I'd like it to be. And also, you have a lot of guns, but your heavier guns will run out quick if you do not fire them judiciously. So my overall impression of this plane, I was not a big fan of 37mm toting planes at first. Compared to the Yak-9T, it has more overall ammunition, so if you're not as accurate but you still want the hitting power of a 37mm cannon, this would be a good choice. And as well, it's 2 tiers below the Yak-9T currently. So I'm Baron. I hope you found this informational, and we'll see. Let me know what planes and what nation's planes of premium aircraft you want me to cover next. I'm Baron, and I'm out.
Yo guys, watch out, you guys are getting close.
We're just overlapping our gunfire even more.
0.06 miles away right now. Here we
It
go.
says you're point 12.
Coming in hot.
Going hot, switching to gun view.
He's out of my fire arc.
He's always going for me, man. Don't have to see of anything. Don't ram me either, you dummy.
Oh, yeah! Take a seat, son. Take a seat. I landed literally 2 shots on that thing and he's dead.
I lit him up, man. I lit him up.
Nice, guys.